second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Let's move to the next item, legislative business. Mr. Anderson.
Right. Mayor, Council, good to be with you this evening. First thing on the agenda that I have is our treasurer's report. So if you look at that paper in front of you, we'll be looking at monthly expenses to the budget for June. As of June 30th, 2026, 75% of fiscal year 26 has elapsed. So our target range is to be at 75% or less on our expended budget. So as you look at that table there, the first table that you come to on the sheet, under general fund, our year-to-date expenditure for the entire fund is at 67.7%, with admin at 73%, police 66.9%, and fire at 60.8%. And then moving on down, ambulance was at 73.6%, street 63.2%, airport 17.9%, cemetery 62.8%, library at 51.5%. Parks and Rec as a whole was at 85%. Now, there's two numbers like we've been showing for the last little while on Parks and Rec. One is the budget with the included capital project for the Twin Bridges Landing, which we are receiving funding through Bureau to help facilitate that project. So with that added in there, they're at 88.5%, but if you take that out of what they've actually spent for their operation and maintenance, they're at 55%. And then you move down and you look at the golf course, they're trending a little high. We've had some repairs and expenses on equipment and bridge replacements for one of the crossings there. So they're running a little high at this point, but we're watching it closely. They're at 80.6. Then moving down to the water department, 34.3%. That looks really light, but that's because we're just starting to move into the engineering and design for the waste treatment, or not for the waste treatment, for the Public Works facility, the water shop. And wastewater treatment plants at 49.3% and sanitation's at 70.4%. Any questions from the council and mayor on the expenditures year to date? Okay. Moving down to our bank investment accounts. So our Morton investment accounts, we closed at $3.7 million. The LGIP closed at $14.5 million. The diversified bond fund at $3.1 million. Our Zion's sweep account closed at $8.2 million, and the Zion's checking account closed at $161,581.97. Any questions I can answer for you on our investments or bank accounts? Okay. We'll move over to the 3-month calendar outlook. We've started off with August. Obviously, we're in our budget cycle right now, so August, this council meeting tonight, we'll get to in just a minute, but we'll talk about our FY27 budget ordinance. And I'm visited with Pam today over at the courthouse. We'll be getting L2s here probably by the end of the week, first of next week, and so we'll start prepping the L2s and get those ready. So September, we move there, we'll look at submitting the L2s to the county, and we'll also have our foregone at that point. We'll do an update for the fee schedule for FY27, and we'll start prep for year-end closeout. And then October is the beginning of the new fiscal year, so we'll start rolling in the new year. We'll finish our year-end closeout for FY26, and we'll start audit preparations at that point. So any questions on the next 3 months? Okay. Moving down, just an update on some projects. Not really much has changed for some of these. The radio meters, not much to change. Meridian Highway 91, there's no new updates, nor is there a new update on the West Bridge Street Bridge. Pendlebury, we did get notice that the bids were all submitted and turned in, and they're going through and selecting. It's to LTAC and ITD to make that decision because it's their funding. They don't have, I did not get a hold of Kevin Kuther, who's the LTAC rep for us over there, to find out if they've awarded it yet. So I'll wait to say that until they give us the official thumbs up on who's awarded, but we should be there and should be moving forward on it pretty soon. Downtown revitalization, we're gonna talk about that here in a minute too, with an update on our professional service contract with Keller. We've also gonna talk about well 14, a notice of award for Bateman Hall. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then Twin Bridges Landing, we've got the non-consumptive water right applications been submitted to IDWR. So the ball's in their court. We're just waiting for them to work through that application and get back to us on what they decide. And then the FAA grant for the snow removal equipment's moving forward. That's on track. And then South Broadway, it's opened up, which is nice. And we did the substantial completion walkthrough last Thursday, and went through and created the punch list items so that they'll have to complete all those things for the final completion. They were minor things like just finishing grouting around some manhole lids and just little minor odds and end things that they'll get taken care of, putting thermoplastic down and some of that stuff. So nothing really big, just tidying up to meet that final completion. But yeah, any questions on any of the projects or any of the updates?
I would say South Broadway, that pavement has a little more vibration to it than the rest of it does.
Yeah,
I noticed that too.
a little
Somebody
more.
did a crappy job.
Yeah, the regular pavement that was not disturbed is nice and smooth, but you drive over the new pavement and
You're feeling a little.
yeah,
Okay.
you got a flutter that tells me their machine wasn't laying it nice and smooth or
Okay.
something. So
Okay.
it's got a flutter to it.
Okay, that's great feedback. I will get that back to HK and let them know. I'm not sure what their remedy will be, but we'll.
Yeah, just go drive it and,
Okay, I haven't driven it. I walked it, so I didn't.
Drive it.
I
yeah,
didn't
drive
feel
it,
the
you'll feel
flutter,
it.
So, okay,
Have Scott drive it.
Yeah, drive it and then come around and drive the undisturbed pavement next to it and big difference.
okay. All right, I'll point that out to HK and we'll figure out what we need to do, so.
Glad I'm not the only one that noticed that.
I noticed it too. I drove it today just for that reason.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate the feedback and we'll get a remedy figured out, so. Okay, anything else I can go over with the projects? All right, okay. Moving on to the next item under the agenda is the annual appropriations ordinance for fiscal year '27. We had the tentative budget proposal at the first council meeting in July. Then just last week, we had our second council meeting for the public hearing. We didn't have anybody testify for, against, or neutral at that point in time. We've met all of our publication requirements, so the next step is, if everything looks good with council and they're okay with what we have proposed, is to move forward with passing the budget ordinance for FY '27.
What would the ordinance number be?
So that ordinance number is 2,300, so 2,300.
Any discussion?
I move that we approve the FY '27 budget as presented and waive all required readings.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Okay. Councilwoman Barlow?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Jensen?
Yes.
Councilman Gardner?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next item.
Thank you, council. We'll move to the next item, which is the notice of award for construction for well house number 14. Coulter Hollingshead with Keller Associates is in the audience with us tonight, so if any questions come up as we move through the next few items, he's here to help answer or give more detail if the council has anything they want to talk about. But the notice of award, so we went out for bid and we had 5 companies come back with bids, and we opened those and the low bidder was Bateman Hall. And their low bid was $1,573,200. And Keller Associates went back, went through the bids, qualified, and it is a good qualified bid. And they're okay with recommending proceeding if the council is okay with that. So tonight's action would be to proceed with the notice of award and give the mayor authorization to sign that, to move forward with Bateman Hall.
So moved. I'll second.
Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
Yep.
Y'all are so fast. So, I noticed in the information that they have not done a project of this type before. And they have a bid bond. Are there also going to be construction bonds, and how much are they going to be?
I'll let Coulter take over for that.
Perfect. Coulter Hollingshead, Keller Associates. So Bateman Hall, they have done projects like this. They later submitted some that they've done for private developments, wells, lift stations, things like that. So they hadn't done them directly for municipalities, but they got handed over to municipalities afterwards.
Okay.
So as far as the bonds go, they provided a bid bond with their bid, and then there are also performance and payment bonds and 100% of the contract amount that they're also will need to provide. So that's the next step. After the notice of award, they collect their performance, payment bonds, and insurance and send those over to us.
Awesome, thank you.
Wigton Hall is very, very large. They've done like all
Yes.
the Rollins, fire stations.
Yep.
I mean, they're very, very large.
I've done some big financing deals with the bank with.
Yeah, I've recognized them.
Still want to
Yeah.
make sure we're covered.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, they are a very large company.
Okay, so,
Okay, I'm good.
you good with that? Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's have,
We need to vote. We have a motion to second.
yeah, just, you got the motion second?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next one.
Okay, next item we have on the agenda is the addendum to, let's see. Well, I'm gonna go a different order. It's the amendment to the owner consultant agreement for Well 14 project. When Keller did the first agreement, it only went through the design and bid process. So we're going to have them stay on as construction oversight and provide the assistance through that. So the amendment to the owner consultant agreement is just the added expense to have them provide the oversight during construction. And there's a couple other things in the scope, but nothing too out of the ordinary
So it's just adding 182,152 to the contract,
to the contract to cover the oversight during
construction
construction.
phase.
Yeah. Did I get that, Coulter? Good.
I
Make
would
the
move-
motion that we add $182,152 to the Keller and Associates contract for construction oversight and other miscellaneous items.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right, and then the last thing that I have for you tonight is the agreement for professional services for the downtown revitalization Phase 2 project. So just kind of a quick recap on this is, when we started this project, Keller did the overall conceptual design for the entire downtown. And so they've designed it all out. And then as we narrow down block by block which ones are going to be targeted, then they are also the design engineer that helps us go through that process and do the design. So Phase 1 addressed the block from Bridge to Pacific. And so the next phase, Phase 2, will address the block from Judicial to Bridge, the next commercial area. So this agreement tonight with Keller is just to have them be the engineer that will work and do the design. And then that's what will be provided to CDBG, which is who we have CCOG is helping us write and administer that grant. So, this is the engineer piece of that part of the project. And like I say, they did the overall concept and they did Phase 1, so it makes a lot of sense to have them continue with Phase 2, so. So tonight's action would just be to give mayor authorization to enter the agreement for professional services.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have for you tonight.
Thanks, Graham.
When did you want to add that to the agenda? When did you want to hear that on the agenda, on the East Idaho Fair contract?
That was in consent agendas.
Oh, okay.
So we're good.
We're good, we're
Okay.
done.
We'll have the next part, which is mine, which really isn't mine, but are you presenting that, Mr. Lewis?
I'd like to introduce, please.
Okay.
So we've just changed our executive director here a couple months ago. So she's been in the position for 2 months. Mrs. Jamie Melling is a new executive director at the senior center. And so I'm going to turn it over to her initially. If you have any questions of me, I'm a member of the Transportation Commission, and so I sat on that, and that's where this came up. Scott's here, right? Scott's in the back, yeah. I went over and talked to Scott a couple days ago, and we kind of, what's the right word, proposed a little bit of a change than what we heard in the Transportation Committee. So I'm going to let Jamie go ahead and address you. Each of you, I will tell you, we did an exhaustive search to find a very competent director. I would encourage you to meet her and welcome her into our community. And that's probably the wrong word to say it. She's been in the community for a long time, but welcome her into the new position.
Good evening. Excuse me. Allergies are getting the best of me with all this smoke in the air. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for allowing me a few moments to speak this evening. When we first began discussing the parking improvements at the Senior Center, our request looked a little different, as Paul mentioned. After meeting with Scott, we were able to identify a solution that addresses our concerns without impacting the existing flow of traffic, and I appreciate his willingness to work with us. The proposed plan would be to relocate handicap parking spaces back to the front of our building where they were located prior to 2020, and add 3 additional handicap parking spaces across the street. The Senior Center primarily serves adults aged 60 and older, and many of them rely on accessible parking to safely access our facility. The handicap parking spaces currently located along the side of our building are near an emergency exit that is not a public entrance. Their location results in frequent requests to use the doors and entrance, which we cannot accommodate for safety and operational reasons. Relocating those spaces to the front of the building adjacent to our main entrance would provide safer and more convenient access for the community members that we serve every day. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So these right now are 3 that are handicapped.
That's
These-
parallel parking.
And that is all parallel parking.
Yeah.
These are set up as handicap. So what we're suggesting is that these 3 remain, and that we make the 3 more right here. And what we talked about is a possibility of making this a one-way street and moving it over so that we could make that diagonal parking. But what we're suggesting now is making handicap this area right here, handicap also. We have several seniors that are parking over here and walking across the street because of the location. It's much closer to that. So that would give us an additional 3 or 4 spots right here.
All parallel on both sides?
Yes, and then so then we would have additional 3 and then additional over here, and that would give us quite a bit more parking. So,
Because I have a question.
did I present that right, Jim? Okay.
I understand eliminating the handicap parking on that northeast Main Street, that west side of the building, but
Right.
why not leave the parking and
We
just have
we
it
want to
look-
leave these
You wanna
2.
leave them?
These 2.
Okay,
These ones really are not, they're just so far around the corner. And the issue is, this is not ADA accessibility at all.
right, but if you have it as regular parking, that's not handicap parking. Because there
Right.
are events at the senior center that
Yes,
seniors don't necessarily attend.
yes, that's what we're saying is, we'd like to keep these 2 and then these ones be regular parking,
Okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I see in your little message we got here from the Transportation Committee that they list that as southeast Maine, but it's actually northeast Maine.
Yes.
So I don't have an issue whatsoever adding in changing the parking on the west side and then adding the handicap on both sides of the East Pacific Street. I don't
And we
see an
really
issue.
appreciate what the city has done here, because we understand that this is the only place in the city where on-street handicap parking is allowed. You know, all other handicap is in parking lots or, you know, off the main streets. But we've got members
It makes sense.
in the audience that have very difficult times in negotiating that and trying to get particularly their loved ones into this center. And it is very frustrating for them, you know, when these are taken up and these are taken up and they're having to come clear around the corner.
Okay, so where they're handicapped parking, what is gonna happen to the curbs at that point? Are they still gonna be the normal curb height?
They are not. If you go over and
They have
look
to
at
be
it, the transition is not. Now, on this side, it will continue to be the ribbon curb.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on this side, there's a transition so that handicap can get in.
The ones right in the front of the building were originally handicapped. They were changed, the handicap was taken off during COVID when they were doing to-go orders only, so that they could come and go, just to help with the flow of traffic. They took away those handicaps. So
Okay,
it is
so the
already,
curb's already set up.
yes,
Yes,
That's good.
yes.
yes.
So Paul, just so the minutes are clear, the proposal is to add 3 on both the south side of Pacific, East Pacific, and on the north side of East Pacific.
And on the north side. So these ones here, and then along here. Now, this is a private business where obviously we do not want to encroach in front of them.
Oh, well, right.
Yeah.
So this is actually owned by the senior center, this area here.
Okay.
That parking lot is actually owned by the senior center.
Scott, everything checks out? We got enough?
Yeah, the curb on the south side of, the senior, where the senior center is at, is, it's designated, there's no high back curb and gutter there, it's like a valley gutter, so it meets all the requirements for ADA.
Okay.
Just,
Those spaces
just,
in there.
And we got
just to know, we've approached GRAHM about this area here. There is no drainage in this area, and so we're looking to have some kind of infiltration put here on these 2 corners because this all turns into a lake in the wintertime. So,
Well, and
so
in the
there,
wintertime-
we're gonna be back here bugging you again about that.
Lake Strand ice skating rinks.
Yes. Yeah, which is not good for, which is really not good for seniors.
It's not good for not seniors either.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of that.
I don't think
Yeah, I
there's
think
any
it's all
issues.
great.
Okay,
I would make a motion that we approve the modifications to the parking along East Pacific Street, adjacent to Northeast Main Street on both the north and south sides of the street, to add 3 handicap parking on each side and to allow them to modify some existing handicap along Northeast Main Street to normal parking.
I'll
very
second
well
that.
said, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Travis, you're up.
Good evening, council. Like it says in the ordinance for artificial turf in the purpose statement, the purpose of this section is to establish uniform standards for artificial turf installations within the city of Blackfoot, recognizing artificial turf as a manufactured surface with the distinct drainage, heat, safety, and life cycle characteristics. These standards are intended to protect public health and safety while providing clarity for applicants, staff, and enforcement. Artificial turfs gives alternate to landscaping where it was not allowed before. It might become more encouraged to help with irrigation or be able to reserve our water for drinking or For people who do not has the energy to maintain mowing a lawn or something like that, artificial turf is an allowed landscaping practice.
Are we just trying to stay ahead of things, or did somebody ask us about this?
Uh,
I'm just curious why these.
Kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah.
No, I wrote it.
You wrote it? You're gonna put turf in your yard, is that?
I already put some turf in my yard.
All right.
I think it's interesting, I happened to be in Indiana this weekend, and we were going down this alley behind my son's new house, and one of his neighbors has a full-on putting green in the back of his house. And we had to get about a foot to the ground before we were able to figure out that it was turf and not grass.
Yeah,
It was
interesting.
really pretty good.
Yeah.
And they got 1.5 inches of water that day, and it was all fine on the turf, though. The turf did it.
And that's the point of this, because we wanted to make sure you can get turf, but it's not perforated. And if you do that, then the water's gonna run off to the street or
Right.
cause
Right,
problems.
stormwater
And
issues.
so we established standards in there that requires it has to be perforated, so that we don't have the water runoff issues, and you know, you can still have trees and bushes around it, and they'll all get water.
I was just curious. I don't think it's a bad idea. I was just
It's a
kind of
good
curious.
idea.
Yep.
So, yeah, and having it permeable and an engineered base underneath it will help with any runoff issues to maintain your stormwater runoff onto the property
That part's important.
and help with any odors that might accumulate from having pets on them.
Oh, right, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So this needs to be done in what, 2 parts?
Well, yeah, so you could do a motion to adopt the findings of fact of planning and zoning first.
So moved.
Second? We'll get that done.
So you'd have a vote on that one.
Okay. All those, no, we gotta,
So she seconded it, or Bart seconded it.
no, we don't have to do roll call on that
No,
till we do the
no,
order.
just to adopt the findings is just.
All right,
standard,
all
yeah.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now the second part.
Then the second part is based upon that vote, ordinance number 2301 would be just our standard ordinance, reading an ordinance of the city of Blackfoot, Idaho, amending Title 11, Chapter 9, Sections 2 and 3 regarding artificial turf regulations and providing for the effective date of said change. Be it ordained by the mayor and the city council of the city of Blackfoot, Idaho as follows. That Title 11, Chapter 9, Section 2 and 3 shall be amended pursuant to the proposal attached here as Exhibit A, and Section 2, that the effective date of this ordinance shall be after passage and publication is provided by law. So just a motion to adopt ordinance 2301 and waive all further readings.
So moved.
Second. I think you got it.
I'll take it.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Barlow?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Gardner?
Yes.
Councilman Jensen?
Yes.
All right, any other matters? We are adjourned.
Wow.
Who won? Who won?
Well, it wasn't Graham.
Take 45
Yeah, you
minutes.
won, didn't you? Yeah.
What he said.
Well,
Those are the challenges I like.
so the senior center had
I like meetings like that.
Me too. Me too.
all the parking